Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sally and this is my channel Secret Life of a Seamstress, where I talk all about sewing, making clothes and other crafts as well. Thanks so much for joining me again today, and I hope you're all doing really well. Today's video is going to be a video sharing all the things I've been sewing, making recently, including some knitting as well. I have been sewing loads lately and it's been so lovely. So I've been making some general summer things, and I've also been making some things for my holiday coming up as well. And I've just been really enjoying sewing lately. It sounds silly because obviously I sew all the time, but yeah, I've just been loving what I've been making lately. So I'm really looking forward to sharing everything I've been doing lately with you today. So first of all, I just want to say that I have had a bit of a cold. There's been this coldy sort of thing going around. Both my children have had it and I've had it this week as well. So I do feel as though I sound a bit croaky, a bit more croaky than normal, and maybe a little bit more nasal, lovely, than normal. So yeah, just bear with me on that. I don't feel too bad, but I do feel as though I just sound a little bit hoarse. So yeah, please bear with me. So yeah, first of all, I will just quickly share with you what I'm wearing today. I always used to, in my makes videos, wear one of my makes to show you, and I've stopped doing that recently. And the reason for that really is because I feel as though if I'm not wearing the makes, I can more easily show you the details, but also I feel as though I can sort of talk a little bit more about the garment if I'm actually holding it. And I also remember things as well to share with you while I'm sort of have the thing in front of me. So yeah, I hope you don't mind that I'm not actually wearing one of my new makes today. What I'm wearing today is actually a Grey Night Studio Scout tee, which I made around this time last year, I think. And it's sewn from a lovely Atelier Brunette double gauze fabric, and it has embroidered gold dots all over it. I love this fabric so much, and I have made a couple of other things in this fabric. And yeah, it's just so lovely. It's lovely to sew with and lovely to wear. So it's just a nice, simple sort of woven t-shirt top, and I really enjoy wearing it. So I have a lot of makes to share with you. As I've said, I have been sewing like a beast lately, making all the things. So I'm actually going to split up my makes videos into two. So today's video, I'm going to be sharing 4 or 5 things that I've been sewing, and also one knitting make as well. And then in a few weeks' time, I will have another makes video to share with you with some other things that I've been sewing and making. I just thought that this video would be super long if I included everything in one video. So if you haven't already subscribed, and if you haven't already clicked the notification bell, then please make sure that you do that so that you don't miss out on my next makes video sharing all of my holiday sews. So anyway, without any further ado, let's get into what I've been sewing and making. So these aren't in any particular order really, I'm just going to pick them up and talk about them as I go. So first of all, I will share with you a nice easy make, something that I really enjoyed making recently. I made another Agnes top. So if you've not seen the Agnes top by Tilly and the Buttons, it's this pattern here. I believe this is available back in print now. For a while it just went to PDF only. It's my favourite t-shirt pattern. I talked all about this in my video last week actually, about why it's one of my favourite patterns and what I love about it so much. So I'll link that video down below if you haven't seen it, but it's a basic scoop neck, quite tight fitting t-shirt. You can make it with ruched puffy sleeves or a lovely gathered sweetheart neckline as well. So I am actually making these quite a lot lately, I find. They're a really good basic in my wardrobe, and I'm just really enjoying wearing them underneath things a lot at the moment. So yeah, it was really nice to get another one of these sewn up. So this is the version that I made. I got this lovely ribbed jersey from Selfmade recently, and I shared in my fabric haul that the reason I'd actually bought this jersey is because it had quite a sort of nostalgic feeling to me, because I had a lovely vest top that I wore back in the days when I was in college and it was from a similar fabric to this kind of multicoloured ribbed jersey. It was a little bit brighter in colour, but I hadn't seen anything like that for years, and I was really attracted to this jersey, and I thought it would make a really nice Agnes top. I haven't had very good experience sewing with ribbed fabrics in the past, so it was really nice to give another ribbed jersey a go. So this fabric, I'm not really sure what it is, to be honest. I don't know if it's a viscose knit or a cotton jersey or what, but it's got a lovely drape to it. You can probably see when I'm holding it like this. It's just lovely and drapey and to sew with. It was just so nice to work with. It stayed in place even though it's got that drape, and yeah, just really nice to sew. So even though I've made many Agnes t-shirts in the past, for this version I actually decided to make a slight change to the fit of this, and all I did was just adjust the shoulder seam here. So I have found in my previous versions of the Agnes that the shoulder seam is actually slightly long for my shoulders. I do think I have a bit of a curved shoulder thing going on. I probably hunch too much. But I was finding with my other Agnes tops that sometimes it was kind of falling off my shoulders, which affected how this was sitting, the neckline. So I was always kind of pulling it up a bit to get the scoop neckline to sit where it should do. So with this version, I decided to make a small change, and all I did was actually just take in the shoulder seam here by 1 centimetre. So this is my, the back, oh no, it's the front piece. It's the front piece actually. I've done it on the front and back, obviously. And all I've done is just make a mark at the top of the shoulder here. So marked 1 centimetre at the top of the shoulder seam, and then graded with my pattern master down to the armhole. So it's not much of a change at all really, and then all I've done is just fold, just slightly sliced into the piece of paper that is excess now, and just folded it behind like that, so that when I came to actually cut my fabric I could just use the new line, and I've still got the old one there if I need to use that at a later date. So yeah, a really quick and easy change to make. I don't know why I haven't done it before, to be honest. But that simple change has made all the difference to the fit of the Agnes top now. I would say that this one really does actually fit me perfectly, and yeah, the neckline just sits where it should now, and the shoulder seams are also sitting where they should now. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how this came together. It was just a lovely simple sew. Obviously I've made the Agnes so many times now that I just know how to make it off by heart. So it's just nice to have a make to do like that sometimes and just take your time over. And I really tried to get the finish nice, so you can't see it in this busy fabric, but I've twin needled all around the edge of the neckline and also the armholes and the hem as well. So I'm loving having that in my wardrobe, and I think it goes really nicely with another make that I'm going to share with you in a minute. So that brings me on very nicely to the second make that I want to share with you for this month, or this last few months I should say, because I think it's well over a month since I made these actually, which is quite scary. Anyway, I finally got around to making my Jessa shorts by tilling the buttons. So if you watch my channel regularly, you'll know that these have been on my list to make for absolutely ages, because I've never made a fitted pair of trousers. I've made a few pairs of elasticated waist trousers like the Sapphires and some plazo pants and things like that, but never anything which needs a little bit of fitting, never anything with a zip fly or a proper waistband or anything like that. I've had this pattern in my stash for a good 2 or 3 years. I think I actually bought this in COVID times actually. And yeah, I just have put off making it because I was scared really. But one of my challenges for this year was to try a couple of new things and push myself out of my comfort zone a little bit, and one of those things to do was actually try a zip fly, and these do include a zip fly. I'll just quickly talk through the pattern if you've not seen it before. So the Jessa trousers, you can see their trousers on the front of the pattern here, but you can also make these as shorts. They're a really nice high-waisted pair of trousers in shorts. If you make the trousers, then the leg is quite flared. You can include a couple of patch pockets if you want to. They are optional, you don't have to include those if you don't want to. Zip fly, and then the shorts have a turn-up cuff as well. So I have finally made my version and I'll show it to you now. So here they are, and I'm so thrilled with how these turned out, and I'm so pleased to have made them. I feel as though I have a big sort of sewing goal weight lifted off of my mind, because these were just there in the background bugging me, saying make me, make me. And I really needed to just get on with them and stop being scared. So I used a lovely denim. I cannot remember exactly what this is, and I bought it so long ago from Minerva, I doubt they have any anyway. It's a lovely indigo denim. It's a medium weight, I'd say. It's not too heavy, not too light either. It was just a lovely weight for a pair of shorts. I had a little bit of a to and fro with the sizing on this. So I generally sit between Tilly sizes. I'm kind of in between a size 2 and a size 3. What I found with the sizing on this pattern was that my waist was coming out larger than my hip size. So when I traced off the pattern initially, I did actually grade so that my waist was bigger than the hips and sort of graded into the hips, and thought that would be fine. As part of the fitting process for this, before I put the waistband on, I did try these on and realised that actually the waist was coming up too big. So I ended up grading in again, or taking in the waist back to a size 2. So I don't quite know what happened there, but I guess that's the point of sort of playing around and making a wearable twirl. These were really a wearable twirl. I eventually want to make the trousers or the jeans. I've got some denim ready for that. So I made the shorts first just to see about the fitting and everything. I think next time I make these, I'll just go for the standard size 2, and I think that'll be okay. So yeah, these were really lovely to make up, really simple really to put together other than the zip fly. So here's my zip fly. I'll just open it up to show you in all its glory, if you can see. So I would say this wasn't half as bad as I was expecting it to be really. I just used the instructions in the pattern envelope. I think Tilly and the Buttons do have an actual video tutorial on their website somewhere showing you how to put in a zip fly, but I didn't actually find that I needed that. The instructions were enough. As always, they're just really clear and easy to follow. It was fiddly, and I did have to do the thing that my mind doesn't always work well with in terms of thinking about left side and right side and how it's going to be when you're wearing it. And it was really funny actually because I kept worrying so much that I'd put this on the wrong side. So obviously in this pattern the zip fly is on the left side. So I'd made these up on one Friday I think, and I'd done all the zip fly and everything. And then later in the evening I wore a pair of jeans that had the zip fly on the other side. Didn't think anything about it, and then one of those weird things that happen to us all I think, I woke up the next morning thinking, oh, I've put that zip fly on the wrong side. The jeans that I was wearing last night had them on the right side, had the fly on the right side, and I put it on the left side. And I literally woke up in the morning and had to check all my pairs of jeans to make sure that I'd done it on the right side. And all of my other jeans obviously had it on the left side. Just this random pair that I was wearing had it on the right side, which is strange. I don't know if people bother so much about things like that these days, but it was one of the things I was a little bit worried about anyway. If I'm being really picky with my own sewing, then the only thing that bothers me slightly is that when these are on, you can very slightly see the gold bit of the zip here. So I think I could have maybe had that a little bit more overlapping at the top. But I mean, that is a minor detail that I'm not going to beat myself up too much over. I don't think it notices too much. I did have a little error with the cuffs here. I think I was so excited that I got the zip fly done and everything that I actually managed to be overconfident and think, oh, it's just a cuff, I know what I'm doing here. And I managed to put in my cuff on the wrong side. So instead of having the seam, you see the overlock seam here on the inside of the cuff, I've actually got it on the outside. Before I realised what I'd done, it was one of those things where while I was sewing it, I was thinking something's not right here, but I was too busy sort of wanting to get them done to stop and think about it, which was silly. And then once I'd sort of got the cuffs on and overlocked them and everything, I thought, oh, the seam should be on the inside of the cuff because obviously it should be in here where you're not going to see it. So rather than unpick all of my overlocking and everything, I just decided to sew a top stitch around the edge of the cuff, which you can't even see really in this indigo denim. And it just keeps the overlocking out of the way. Obviously, if you're looking at it off of you, then you can notice that, but when you're wearing it, you can't notice it at all. So yeah, not going to bother too much about that. I'm really pleased with how they turned out. I'm so pleased to have tried a fitted garment. I'm looking forward to trying the dresses properly and making the trousers, but I think I'm going to put those off now until autumn winter time because I've just been sewing so much for summer. So next I'll move on to a dress, and you may have already seen this one if you are a regular viewer of my channel, because I have done a sewing video of this one. So this is a dress that I made for a wedding that we were going to recently. I'd seen quite a few of this style of dress around online and on the high street, and I really wanted to try and recreate one. You know, when you just do that thing of looking at high street dresses and things and comparing them to sewing patterns. That's what I do all the time anyway. And this particular type of dress that kept coming up just reminded me of a few different sewing patterns that I already owned. So I decided to try a bit of a mashup of 3 of my favourite patterns to make myself a wedding guest outfit. So this is a lovely long maxi dress. And it's a combination of 3 different patterns. The bodice is the Darling Ranges dress, my favourite pattern ever. The frills here are from the Davenport dress by Friday Pattern Company. And then the tiers basically use the measurements that I use for my Lyra dress hack in terms of how long or how short the tier is on the top, and then the bottom one is a bit longer and it just buttons down completely. So because this was a dress for a wedding, I left it maxi length so that I could wear heels with it. And I absolutely love the maxi length, and I'm going to keep it like this. I did wonder if I would actually shorten it up to midi length to make it a little bit more kind of day wear. But I don't have many actual maxi length dresses in my wardrobe, so it's really nice to have one. So I'm going to leave it as it is. So yeah, I won't talk too much more about this one because I do have a full sew along video or sewing day in the life video of me making this, where I talk a little bit more about the changes that I've made to the pattern and the sewing process and things like that. So I'll link that video down below if you want to go and watch it if you haven't already. So next I have another dress make to share with you, and it's one that I've not shared anywhere yet, even on Instagram or anything like that. So this is quite a new one. It's another high street hat kind of dress actually. I had seen a really lovely mini wrap dress on And Other Stories, and I kind of fell in love with it. It's just a simple dress, but I thought it was really lovely. It's an unusual mini length for me. I don't often go for mini length. Yeah, so I set about thinking about how I could use patterns that I already own to recreate a similar sort of mini wrap dress. And here's my finished version. So it's going to be quite difficult to show you this properly. I will put a couple of photos in as well, as I always do. And I'll try to remember to leave my photos up a little bit longer. I have been asked to do that actually a few times, so I'll try and leave them in a bit longer this time. I sewed this up actually from the same fabric as what I'm wearing here. This is another colourway of the Atelier Brunette double gauze with the embroidered dots. I've had this in my stash for quite a while now. Didn't really know quite what to do with it, and I just thought it would suit this kind of dress really well. The one that I'd seen on the high street I think was sewn from a linen, and to get that sort of boxy look I think you need something that's not a viscose and doesn't have too much drape to it. So I thought this would actually be perfect. So I have actually made this using the Eve dress pattern by Sew Over It. So this is the Sew Over It Eve dress pattern. It's a pattern that I absolutely love. I have made it quite a few times now in various different versions. So the Eve dress is a kind of 1920s style dress, I would say. It's a vintage style anyway. It's a lovely wrap dress. You make it from a drapey fabric. It has shoulder yoke pieces to it, and you can either make it with a 3/4 length straight sleeve, or you can make it with a flutter sleeve and have a kind of dipped high-low hem. So I ummed and ahed for a little while about whether I needed to buy another pattern to try and recreate this dress, or whether I could somehow use this pattern to make it work. So in a couple of weeks' time, I am actually going to have a sewing day in the life video of me making this dress, where I go into a bit more detail about how I hacked the pattern and things like that. But basically, because the style of this wrap dress was quite different to the boxy style of the dress I wanted to recreate, I did need to make a couple of changes to the pattern. I needed to take out the shoulder yokes and just make it flat so that it was just a simple style wrap dress rather than having those gathered shoulder yokes. I also needed to shorten the sleeves obviously, and chop quite a lot of the length of the pattern as well. So yeah, it was a bit of an experiment really. I always, as you probably know, really like to do that if I can. If I've got a pattern that I think will work and there are only simple changes required, it's really fun, I think, to just give it a go and see if you can actually use it to make it into something new. So I really had fun experimenting with this dress, and I really hope you'll tune in to watch my video where I do share in more detail about the changes that I made and how the sewing process went and everything. You can see that I've got the wrap pieces here. There's no shoulder yoke here, so I've just taken that out and it's all flat. It's very, very mini. Well, not very, very mini, but in terms of the pattern pieces, it is mini in that I always have to shorten sew over it patterns anyway. So bearing in mind, I normally need to take a good 15 centimeters, I think is my standard amount, to bring it up to where I want it to be. And then because this is a mini dress, I had to take even more off. So it did turn out to be quite a big alteration in terms of shortening that I did. I also made the belt a little bit skinnier, and I've obviously shortened the sleeves as well. And I am so pleased with how this turned out. I think this is such a good example of how you can use a pattern that you've already got and just adapt it a little bit to make something different and something that you really want to recreate. And I don't think you'd think that this was an Eve dress if you saw it as it was. I mean, obviously it's just a simple wrap dress still. Just taking out that yoke detail and changing it slightly, it takes away that sort of vintage feel that the Eve dress has, and it just makes it that little bit more modern and boxy. And I do really think that this is actually the perfect fabric for this dress. It really holds its shape nicely and it just keeps that sort of boxy look to it. And for me, who doesn't like wearing sort of starchy cottons, I think this cotton double gauze is a good alternative because it's really soft. It's not quite as structured as, say, like a cotton poplin or something like that. So it feels really nice to wear as well. And I really like this mustard colour. So I'm hoping this will be a good holiday dress that I can take away with me when we go away next week. And yeah, don't forget to tune into my video coming up in a couple of weeks' time. I think I'm on to my last sewing make now, and then I have one knitting make to share. So lastly in sewing, I have made, well, I've actually made both of the Logan jackets that I wanted to make for this summertime, but for this video, I'm just going to share one of them. So you'll know that I love the Logan jacket pattern by Stylark. I've made so many of them. For me, it's just the perfect shirt pattern. It's really relaxed, really casual, it's quite oversized, and I just feel as though it suits me and how I wear shirts quite well. So I tend to wear shirts sort of either as outerwear if I've made them from an outerwear fabric, as a jacket, or sometimes just over like camis and t-shirts and vests and things like that. So I have quite a few in my wardrobe already, and I had another two that I wanted to make this summertime. And one of them was one from a stripy fabric where I could contrast the stripes a bit and have fun with that. So for today's video, I'm going to share with you the stripy version, and here it is. I am so pleased with this. I think this is probably my favourite make from this video. So yeah, this fabric is a lovely cotton linen blend from Fabric Godmother, and thank you to the person that told me that Fabric Godmother did have some stripy fabrics like this in, because if you remember from my fabric haul video, I'd actually picked up a stripy fabric from Self Made, which turned out to be quite a heavy jacquard and more suited to like upholstering, furnishings and things like that. So I completely bought the wrong fabric and needed to find something else. I've since found so many different stripy fabrics I could have used. It's funny, isn't it? When you sort of get what you want, you then find loads of other versions that you could have bought. But anyway, this particular fabric is really lovely. So it is a cotton, so it does have some structure to it, but I think because of the linen blend, it's quite nice and light. A little bit more drapey perhaps than a standard like cotton poplin. So I've made the jacket up just as it is, but I've kind of played around a little bit with the stripes in this, and I've changed the pocket slightly as well. So you can see that I have two patch pockets on the front here. So the standard pocket piece, pattern piece that comes with the Logan jacket actually has the kind of pocket that's sort of pointed at the bottom. For this version of the shirt, I just decided to take the pockets in a little bit, so I think I took around 1 centimetre out of the width of the whole pocket, and then I just flattened off the end as well so that it didn't have the pointed bit at the bottom. And I think that works really nicely with the stripes being like this, because it just gives that sort of straight feel. Is that the right way of saying it? But I think if I'd have had the point, then the stripes would have obviously looked a little bit different. So I really like how the straight pockets look. And then that's all I've done in terms of stripes here. I did wonder whether or not to contrast the stripes at the collar, but then in the end I just decided to keep them going that way. And I've kept the yoke in this one and just cut the yoke piece going that way, going in the opposite direction, and then obviously the rest of the body, the stripes are going down this way. So again, this was kind of based on a look that I'd seen on the high street. I'd seen a lovely shirt in Anthropologie that I really wanted to recreate. The Anthropologie one was quite boxy and cropped and not necessarily a style that I would wear, but I really liked the contrasting stripes that they'd used. But yeah, it kind of gave me the inspiration for making a shirt like this. And actually shirts like this are all over the place at the moment, aren't they? And yeah, I'm thrilled with this. This is another one that I'm going to take on holiday with me. I think it will be a really good cover up. So I'll probably wear this with a pair of denim shorts and say a vest or something like that, or a cami or an Ogden cami or something like that. And I think it's really good for using if you just want to get out of the sun for a little bit, or if you are feeling a bit chilly in the evening or something like that. I think it will be a really good cover up. And I love all of my Logans. I wear them so much, and I think I was due another couple in my wardrobe. So yeah, that's that one. And I've just used some really nice plastic buttons that I actually got from Amazon. I don't tend to button the shirts up very often anyway. I think I'll just wear this open. But obviously I did want to have the buttons there for decoration. Yeah, that's my latest Logan jacket, which I'm so pleased with. I'm getting so speedy at making these now, actually. I cut this out a couple of days before, and then I found myself with an evening on my own. All of my children had gone out. Both of my children had gone out and my husband had gone out. And I had an evening on my own, say 2 or 3 hours, and I kind of challenged myself without rushing to get this done before anyone got home. And I made this up in 2.5 hours. So it really is quite a speedy sew. Obviously I've made this a good few times in the past, so I know what I'm doing with it now. But as shirts go, it is a pretty speedy one. It has some quite basic like techniques in it, really, because the button band is just turned under rather than being a separate one. And there's no sort of sleeve cuffs to do or anything. These are just hemmed and then turned up. And I always find that the collar goes in really nicely on this. I know some people do have a problem with the collar on this pattern, and Style Arc have actually released a video tutorial now of how to set the collar in, because people were struggling with it so much. But for some reason I've always found it really nice and easy, and it goes in really well. So there we go. But that's that one. I feel as though I'm talking really fast in this video. I'm sorry about that. I think it's just because I don't want to get too croaky. So I'm trying to fit it all in really quickly before my voice runs out. Right, so lastly we have my knitting make, and that is my finished Rosa cardigan. So I've been knitting the Rosa cardigan by a Longabec Anna for a little while now. And this is the finished version. Again, I'm just really thrilled with this, really. It's just so lovely. It's a really nice pattern. I really enjoyed knitting this actually, because I think it has the interest in the lace raglan here, but then once you're done with that, you can just knit a simple stocking stitch. So I did find that once this lace raglan was done, it came together really quickly actually. I always find that knitting sleeves when you're knitting top down do come up really quickly, or come together really quickly, because half of them are already done with the yoke anyway, and then you're just decreasing in size. So I really did find that the sleeves just took me a couple of nights to do. And then the ribbing obviously on the 4-point needles, that's always a little bit awkward. I need to get a really tiny circular needle, I think, to do those. I was brave and left it cropped. I think I may have added an inch to the length actually, but I'm always nervous of leaving things cropped. I'm always scared that things are going to feel too short, but actually this is a really nice length, and I think that it will suit dresses and things really well. The only thing I didn't like about this pattern actually is having to pick up the button band. So a pattern that I've knit recently is the Whitmore cardigan by Taylor S Studios, and that has you knit the button band as you go, which to be honest when I first started it I found so awkward, but then in the end I was just so pleased not to have that picking up of the button band to do, because I never feel as though I make a good job of it. I think when I was picking up the stitches for this button band, I undid it like 3 times before I was happy with how I spaced the stitches, because in the pattern it doesn't actually give you an exact number of stitches to pick up. It gives you sort of a rough estimate of how many rows you should pick up a stitch for, if that makes sense, and I was struggling with that a little bit. But I got there in the end. Something funny that happened with this actually is that I forgot completely to make the buttonholes. So I was knitting away thinking that I had in my head that the buttons were going to be made on, say, row 7 of this. So I think I'd got to about row 7 and I should have made the buttonholes at around row 4. So rather than undo everything I'd done, especially with the trouble that I'd had with picking up and everything, I just decided to leave the buttonholes off. I don't think I'll wear this buttoned up anyway, and part of me was even wondering whether to knit them because they did seem quite complicated in terms of working out where they should go and everything. And in the end, I just forgot to do them anyway. So that was quite funny. So I have added buttons here for decoration, so it looks as though it should button up, but really there are no buttonholes. I think I probably could try and push the buttons through the holes in the knitting if I really did want to button it up, but as I say, I don't tend to do that anyway. So before I forget to tell you, this was knit from a Drops cotton merino yarn in Rust. Such a lovely yarn to knit with. It is a cotton, but it does have a little bit of a brushed texture to it, so there's a little bit of coziness to it as well. It's not like a solid cotton on its own, if you know what I mean. So yeah, super pleased with that one. I can see why these cardigans are addictive. I know quite a few people have made quite a few versions of these because they are really quite quick to knit up. And already I'm kind of thinking that a nice neutral coloured one of these would be useful. So you never know, there might be one of those coming one day. Okay, so that is all of my makes so far. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I've been up to and seeing what I've been making recently. It was really nice to share them with you all. So before I go, I just wanted to quickly say that we are coming up to the summer holidays here in the UK, which means that my children will be at home for the summer and not at school. So my videos may slow down slightly over the summer period. So next week I'm going to have Sunday completely off, so there'll be no video next week, and then there will be some sewing days in my life videos that I've been recording. So one of them will be my Eve dress, and then I do have another one to share, and also there'll be the second part of my makes video coming up. And then I'm also hoping to pop on, if I can, during the summer holidays, just to share with you any sewing or knitting or making that I have been doing, if there is any time for such things. My children are a little bit older now, so they don't need me to entertain them constantly anymore. They do go off with their own friends and things like that, which does leave me with a little bit more time, which is both sad and happy at the same time. And it's been a little bit weird for me to get my head around, let's say. But nonetheless, I'm really obviously wanting to be around as much as I can over the summer holidays for them, because it is such a special time. And I know that things slow up for everyone over the summer anyway, because people are away and won't necessarily be watching YouTube as much as they normally would. So of course, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I'd love to have you as a subscriber. I do normally post regularly every Sunday at 8 AM with lots of lovely sewing content. And I just wanted to say as well, because we are coming to that sort of emotional summer holiday time. So I just wanted to say thank you to you all again for subscribing to my channel, for watching my videos, and for commenting and supporting me, and yeah, all of those things. I'm really grateful to you all. I can't quite believe that I'm on my way to 12,000 subscribers here on YouTube. It's just such a massive number to me. And yeah, all I ever really wanted to get to when I started this was 1,000 subscribers, and now to think that I'm nearly at 12,000 just seems crazy. So thank you so much for that. I'll stop waffling now before I lose my voice and just say take care everyone, have a lovely rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.